Hey guys, welcome to another review on the Everyday Cigar channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going for a non-Cuban. It's the Vegafina Corona, and it's made in the Dominican Republic. The wrapper's Ecuadorian, Connecticut shade. The binder's actually Indonesian, and the filler is a blend of Colombian, Dominican, and Honduran tobacco. It's a long cut filler, which is great. It's one of the most popular cigars in Europe, actually. It sells extremely well there. And it's got a lot of sweet hay, nuts, some grass to it, so it should be pretty interesting. We're drinking today a small batch beer out of San Francisco. It's Anchor Steam. It's actually a really nice beer. Not too heavy, not too light, perfect amount of carbonation. It's got a bit of a bready characteristic at the front of the palate, with some spicy notes, but a bit of sweet caramel to finish off. So it should work fantastically well with this cigar, and on a day like today, very hot, not a cloud in sight, perfect beer for it. We're listening to one of my all-time favorite blues albums, Magic Sam, West Side Soul, Delmark Records. It's known to be one of the best electronic blues albums. Really revolutionized the field as well. It's 1967, and it really does an awesome job of melding rock and roll with blues. It's really hard-hitting. I've noticed that it's a pretty light colored wrapper, but that's completely normal of Connecticut shade wrappers. They're quite light in color, but the construction's very good. The aroma to the nose is quite spicy. There's lots of toasted tobacco in there, definitely. It kind of smells like leaves on a forest almost. When you're walking through even your backyard after it's kind of just rained. It's like that musty, kind of woodsy sort of smell to it. It's actually quite nice. The draw is actually pretty loose. I wouldn't call it necessarily a wind tunnel. It's not like somebody has a little fan at the other end, but it's pretty loose. The dry draw flavor, again, I'm getting a lot of that woodsy sort of taste to it. Lots of toasted tobacco, some spice. It's a bit like wood chips that you would use for smoking, for like smoking meat on a barbecue. I'm getting a bit of hickory through there. The burn looks okay. It's burning quite quickly though, and that could be because of that loose draw. There's just so much air going through there each time I take a drag that it's burning quite quickly. The opening is full of spice. It comes right in with a lot of spice. The wood is definitely there. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a harsh opening, but I hope that throughout the cigar it does mellow out a little bit. I hope that there is a little bit of variation. We'll see how that plays. There are hits of coffee in there as well. I'm getting yeah, I'm getting like a dark sort of espresso, really dark roasted bean through there. And I'm happy to say that it has mellowed out a little bit now. There's a bit of sweetness coming through. I wouldn't say necessarily anything like a brown sugar or anything. It's more like a very standard white table sugar. It's just it's just sweet. There's no complexity to that sweetness. And I think it's sort of overall not going to be that complex. For $10, you're sort of at the bottom end of the scale in terms of pricing for especially a Corona. So it's not going to give you that complexity that you're going to look for in, let's say, a higher valued cigar, and especially because it's non-Cuban. at this price range as well. But that being said, though, it's actually pretty good value for the money. Good amount of smoke. It's a well-rounded smoke. I'm not picking up too much on individual flavors running through it, but it's a nice well-rounded smoke, meaning that it's not too harsh or not too bitter. So yeah, I think for a non-Cuban, I can sort of see why this is quite popular. I think it's one of those cigars that even non-cigar people will like. It's ashing quite well. It's got this kind of bright white, medium gray ash to it. I just ashed it and it's got this gray cone on it. It's kind of refreshing to have a cigar like this. I mean, it's really fun, it's light, it's airy, it's not going to kick you around too much, I don't think. We'll see how it develops into the second, third. The first third was definitely just above medium in body. Now I think it's crept down a little bit. It's gone to around medium. The spiciness is still there. It's got a nice bold spice underlying. The sweetness has gone away a little bit, and I'm kind of sorry to say that. I miss it a little bit. And in its place, it's gotten a little bit harsh. On the back of the palate, and I think it's showing its true colors a little bit. But I do want to emphasize that this is a handmade cigar. It's not machine made, which is great. So you're still getting a handmade product for $10. So again, in this bracket, you're not going to be looking for too much of that refinement. It is going to be slightly blocky in terms of its flavor. I think for me there are two different types of cigar smoking. There's one type of cigar smoking when you're in a high-class neighborhood, let's say. I mean, for Toronto it's Yorkville. You're on a patio and you want to show that you got a bit of bank. You know, you want to show that you got a bit of pull, so you've got that nice Cohiba band wrapped around your fingers. And it shows that you're powerful and you deserve to be there and all of that stuff. And that's great. That's great. You know, there's a time and there's a place for that. But for me, smoking a Cohiba in this setting, in a very relaxed backyard setting, is a bit like paying for sex when you know that there's that cute little redhead next door that is just ready and willing to show you the best time that you've ever had. And I'm not saying that this cigar is necessarily the best time that you've ever had, because it is lacking some things. It is a bit harsh. I'm now into the final third, and it is a little bit harsher than I would like. It is starting to show its lack of refinement. But with that said, I think that there's something almost exciting about trying a cigar that's a little bit off the radar, that you don't necessarily know what you're getting yourself into. And that's this for me. I mean, this is my first Vegafina. It's one of a few non-Cubans that I've had. But I think it speaks to that very relaxed but ready to go nature of cigars that I love so much. You know, it's right there for you. It's going to deliver flavors. It's not going to be that complex, but it's going to deliver flavors. It's going to deliver a lot of spiciness, some sweetness, a bit of coffee, in a very affordable package, in a package that you don't have to work for, in a package that you don't really have to sort of chase down. And I guess that speaks to my earlier comment that this is quite accessible. It's a cigar that I think even people that haven't tried a lot of cigars will kind of like. It's the blue collar cigar, I guess. And yeah, it's working quite nicely with the beer. The anchor steam is playing very nicely with the sweet notes in the cigar. The caramel coming through in this is really playing off nicely with the sweeter characteristics of here. I think that this beer is giving a lot more definition to this cigar that wouldn't necessarily be there without it. It slowed down quite nicely, which is great. I was really hoping that it would, because otherwise this would have not been an incredibly interesting smoke, I don't think. But it slowed down quite nicely. And yeah, now it's getting a little bit hot, a little bit frustrated, I think. So I guess for a final rating, if I had to put this out of 100, I would probably grab around an 85, an 86. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable smoke. It hasn't been too harsh. It's been kind of harsh at times, but it hasn't been where I've wanted to just leave it. So that's why I think I'm going to give it around an 85, 86. It's delivered some interesting flavors, some spice, some wood, a bit of sweetness in there. It hasn't been too complex, which in this situation has been an awesome, Thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to get more reviews out to you guys. As usual, any questions, comments, concerns, anything, please send them right along, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Other than that, yeah, it's been a great afternoon, and I hope that that you guys have enjoyed it as well. So, cheers. Have a great day.